Hi there everybody, it's Verity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you so much for joining me again today for a card making tutorial. So today I'm going to be doing the Creative Colour Challenge. This is a challenge that my lovely friend Vicky Lou designs, does every week. And normally I can't take part because it just doesn't fit in with my timetable. But today I have some extra time and the challenge has just dropped. I think it's challenge 228, if I remember rightly. All the link will be in the description anyway. And it's a weekly challenge, launches on a Monday and she calls the winners on Sunday. The pick for this week is Petunia Pop, Pretty in Pink and Shy Shamrock. These are all the current in colours. These ones will be retiring in the summer, so nice opportunity to get some more use out of those. Okay, but I've got the inks in my hand, but I'm not going to use any of the inks. We're going to use other products in the in colours to create the card, and I'm going to use Fragrant layers. So I was going to use Fragrant layers anyway for today's video, but and then the colour challenge dropped and I thought, oh okay, I'll mix it up and I'll incorporate that. So this was what I was making. This bundle is really interesting in that you can use it in a variety of ways. We can stamp the outline and colour it in. We can use two-step stamping and create an image that way. We've also got individual flowers, some lovely little sentiments, but we've also got these fab dies. So you can die cut solid images, and you can create these lovely little elements as well with the outlines. So lots of different ways that we can use this one. Okay, but what we're doing today is we're going to do a little bit of simple colouring. Excuse me. Excuse me. Simple colouring and using this lovely detailed die to create an outline. Okay, so this sample used Flirty Flamingo. So I've used the A4 cardstock and the two-tone cardstock. Okay, so we've got the light side and the dark side on show, and like I say, I just coloured that in with a bit of Flirty Flamingo stamping blend and actually some soft sea foam. I went going for something really subtle. So that's what we got. So let's switch things up. So we've still got our pink card base because that's the those were the colours in the challenge. So we're going to go with Pretty in Pink for the card base, and I've got an additional white layer as well. So on this one the two-tone cardstock is flat on, so I've added a white layer just to get a bit more definition. Okay, and that'll make up my base. And I've got this little strip left over from when I cut down the two-tone cardstock. So measurement wise, this is ½ inch shorter and narrower, I believe. So let me just double check that for you. So yeah, so 3.5 by 5.25. Yep. And you want your white layer a smidge taller and narrower. Okay, and just to save some cardstock, I've cut out one of the banners from Simply Stylish Shapes, I should say. Okay, no one's ever going to see that, so why not take something out that I use a lot. Okay, might even use it on the card. So those are our base layers which we've got ready and waiting, and like I say, this little strip that we can use as an accent. But what we're going to do is let's just stamp our image. So I've got an opportunity here to bring it in the stamping positioner to stamp this nice detailed image. So already positioned some cardstock on there. This is just the white willow. We're not going to do lots of blending, so the white willow will be fine. And I've already got that positioned in there, ready to do some stamping. So what I've actually found is that it's kind of I find it convenient to sort of flip it and then ink it up. So I'm going to pop the positioner just up out the way just a little bit so that I can apply the ink down here. Okay, So we'll just use Memento. We want a water-based ink when we use the water-based markers. So normally I'd have this flat on my desk right in front of me, so down here, so that I can get this inked up, but obviously that means you can't see it. Okay, so just for the sake of I'm going to bring that forward, okay, and you just drop the top onto those little pegs and lower it down, and these are on little springs now, okay, and we can just press this down and apply some pressure to the image. It's really easy, bounces back up, and you will be able to see if some of the ink hasn't transferred, which it has beautifully, but I want to make a nice dark impression, so I'm going to stamp it twice because I have a stamping positioner. Okay, so we're in the middle of the super special joining offer at the moment, so you will get one of these for free when you join Stampin' Up during February. So demos, we're able to pre-order it so that we could show it you. But at the moment, the only way to get that is for free in a starter kit. Okay, there we go. All the details are on the website. Just click in the description of this video and it will take you through to lots of links to the Stampin' Up website. So now we've got that stamped, we can pop this to one side. Isn't that beautiful? Nice and neat, because I was able to use the stamping positioner. Okay, right, so we can get this, in fact, you know what, I'm just going to give that a minute or two to dry. So, only because I don't want my ink to bleed at all. It shouldn't do too much, but because it went on the white willow, the alcohol will spread a little bit. So I'm going to take the opportunity and use this die cut that we took out of the back of that layer. I could put this in the stamping positioner, but I'm not going to worry about it. I think it's going to be fine. Just as it is. I like the positioner for detailed images, things that I might want to have to do twice, or large backgrounds or something like that, where you need to put on that extra bit of pressure. Let's stamp beautifully. Okay, and we're going to potentially put this over the top of this little strip. Yeah, that's it. So we'll have the dark side showing. I'm going to pop just a little bit of seal along there, and we'll get that centered up, or centered enough, and ready to go. And we'll pop some dimensionals on the back of that, ready to go as well. Let's just grab those from over there. I'm going to do 3. One at each end and a little bit of support in the middle. So this element is ready to go. Okay. And what I might do is just do a little bit of this as well. I'll just layer these up. So again, just using some seal. Oops. To do this, I like to turn it on its side so I can eyeball that top right and bottom border. If you get that right, the rest should take care of itself. And just check it before you press it down. That's all cool. And we'll press it down. Okay, so that's ready to go. And we can pop that onto the card base, and no one will ever know there's a great big hole in the middle. So in exactly the same way, I'm going to lie this down this way round, line it up, and if you don't press it down, you just got that minute just to make some quick adjustments, press it down nice and firmly, Make sure that top fold's nice and sharp, and then it will stand up. Yep, there we go. Card base ready to go as well. So we've got those elements all ready. Okay. Rightio then, so some just nice simple colouring then. So we're going to bring in the Shy Shamrock and the Petunia Pop to do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So we'll just drop in some colour on this. Again, not looking to be, you know, we're not going for a Van Gogh here. We're going for just nice quick colouring and just using light and dark shades there. And once we've got everything all put together, it's really not going to matter if this isn't perfect. It'll be absolutely, it'll look fine. Voila. Okay, so that's Shy Shamrock. And then this is Petunia Pop. So we'll drop in some darker bits. Into the centre. Let me just check this. The brush tips actually the darker one. Tried out the markers on some scrap to see which ones came out darker, because you'll find that you use your markers in different ways. So some may have more ink than others, and your light marker can suddenly become a dark marker if you use one more than the other. So try them out, make sure your combo is going to work. Ideally use a scrap of the same cardstock that you intend to colour on, and then you know that they'll behave the same. And then we'll just go in and fill that in. Like I say, no expert blending on this. And like I say, this cardstock, this is the White Willow. It colours just fine, but if you do too much, because it's not as thick, it can bleed a little bit. So if you're worried about it, use basic white. There we go. So as you can see, nothing heroic about this at all. So I'm doing it this way around with Petunia on the flowers, and I'll be honest, the main reason for that is that I didn't have enough Petunia cardstock to create a card base, so that was that decision made. Could have used Shy Shamrock, I guess. It wasn't the look I wanted, so there we go. So this is coming out just fine. So it's a bit brighter and bolder than the sample card, but that's fine. Actually use the colour lifter to sort of soften out the image on the original. Okay, so nothing complicated about this colouring at all, and you can see this one's drying back and it is lighter. These ones haven't quite dried back yet, but they will. Okay, so that's another consideration when you're picking out colours. Let them dry, and just and bleeding through is quite normal. Okay, so that can dry while we are doing some die cutting. So we're going to use this this detailed die here, and I'm going to do it in black. So I'm sort of creating a 3-dimensional outline for the flowers. This cardstock measures 2.5 by 3.5, so that then I'll get that nice border. So the die itself will not cut the border, which means you can actually cut it into a piece of cardstock, and you'll end up with just sort of the holes, if you like, and then you can trim it back down. So you can make this outside edge as thick as you want it to be. You could cut it down afterwards, but I think you stand a better chance of getting it straight and even if you cut it down and then position the die centrally on the actual piece of cardstock. So that's what I'm doing with that. I'm just going to hold it in place with some low tack tape. Like so. Okay, and we'll run that through the die cut machine. Okay, so I'm going to run it through at an angle so that the corner goes under the rollers first, and you'll find it goes through nice and easily. I think this one fits through the mini as well. Let me just grab a plate here. Yeah, easy. In fact, I knew that, didn't I? Because it was 2.5 inches wide, and I know the plates are larger than 2.5 inches. Right, so this is what we're cutting out, this black outline. So you end up with this, okay, and then so you can see you've got all those little pieces, right? So in theory, what you could do as well is die cut this in another piece of cardstock, and then paper piece all these little elements. Watch this space. I may do that if I feel committed enough. It's not everyone's jam to do that kind of detailed work, but if it is, this is a perfect die to use for that kind of thing. Okay, so another way that you can use this for the paper piercing technique. Okay, and these all just drop out so easy. It's really easy to cut out. Okay, so all that comes out beautifully. I'm ready to go for next time. Let's put that on my little magnetic doodah. Okay, and then we'll just lift away this, and I'll clear away all the little bits and pieces after, because I don't think we're die cutting again. No, we're not. Okay, so we'll just pop all these out. Take your pick or your pokey tool or whatever you've got, but most of them will just fall out with your fingers anyway. And we've got this nice even border around the edge. And like I say, the bigger the cardstock you cut that into, that deeper that edge will be. I hope I've explained that properly. Okay, I'm going to bring in a silicone sheet, because what we need to do is apply some glue to the back of this. So again, if you wanted to, you could use what are they called? Double-sided sticky sheet things. And then you'd have a self-adhesive element put on. It can be a bit fiddly getting the backing off when it's all in these little teeny tiny pieces, but again, if that's your jam. And then I'm just popping in some spots, literally spots of glue, just here and there, to hold this in place once we add it to our little element. So there are some pieces that are just a little bit bigger than others, tips of the leaves that are going to potentially poke up. Okay, so we'll lift that up, and then we'll bring in our coloured piece, and look like it's the right way up. Yep. And then we're going to line this up with the line art of that stamped image, and we're going to bring in a block. The E block is perfect, and that will help you apply some nice even pressure to that. Okay, all right. The glue, if you just use it sparingly like I did, it will dry really quickly. Well, dry enough for you to then be able to manipulate it. Okay, so there we go. That's that. And then what we need to do is trim this down. Oops, just grab my paper trimmer. Let me see, have I got that top of that in camera? Yeah, I have. Yeah. So I'm going to line up the edge of this die now. Not the paper, you can see it's not straight on the paper, right? So you want to line up the actual cardstock with a place on your cutting track. So what I'm actually doing is I'm looking through the track and I'm pushing the cardstock under the track until it just disappears. Okay, you could measure it, you could do all sorts of things, use a craft knife and a ruler and stuff like that if you wanted to. If you eyeball it and make sure it's lined up with the inside of that track, you should get a nice straight and even border. Okay, which is approximately 1/8 of an inch. Nice skinny border. Line it up with a different spot if you want something different. Right, let's do the other long edge on that. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I'm going to line it up, and it's just appeared in the track. So now I'm going to just pull it back until it disappears. And we'll cut that away. And keep going, basically. Just go all the way around the edges. Doing exactly the same thing. If you're confident with scissors and you're good at eyeballing these things, that's great. I like to do it like this. A little glue's just moved slightly on that, so that wasn't as straight as it could have been, but that's fine. When you obviously you can leave it to dry longer when you're making at home. Okay. Ooh. There we go. That's lovely. Okay, right. So there's our little topper. Sorry, that was a bit loud. Sorry. If you do get these little fuzzy bits, you do get it from time to time. One of these nail sander things is really good to get these off. So I'm just going to sand that off over my bin so that it catches the bin, catches the bits rather than going all over the desk. Easy peasy, right? Isn't that beautiful? And it's really going to pop. That petunia pop is going to pop. Isn't that nice? Very, very bold. Very, very lovely. So now I just want to make sure that I've got this where I want it. I might stick the sentiment down and then position the topper. You know, kind of depends, you know, how things turn out sometimes as to how you want to construct something. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to position my sentiment and then I'm going to pop the topper on to suit. Okay, so let's go and do that. And again, if you want some wriggle room, pop some little dabs of your multi-purpose adhesive over your top of your dimensionals. Just trying to get my head over the top of that without showing you the back of my hair that's going all grey. There we go. And then this guy needs to be on dimensionals as well, so let's do that. I position my dimensionals not too close to the edges. They're less visible then to the recipient, and then they support the centre a little bit more than if they were around the edge. So I'm not going to pop one in the middle, I'm going to just leave it. But I am going to use my own advice and pop a little bit of multi-purpose on top of that. It's only a little teeny tiny bead of it, okay, which will allow you to then bring in your elements. And just make sure you've got that centered. So I'm looking now to make sure that my top and bottom edge are nice and centered, as well as my left and right. Yeah, that looks good. There we go. And then you can apply the pressure, and that glue will squidge, and your dimensionals will take over and get that grab on there nice and quickly. Okay, I like it. I like it. There we go. So what I think we'll do is we'll bring in the shamrock using you know, the little flat pearl things. Here they are. I haven't used many of these. I've used quite a lot of the 2025 ones, but not too many of these. Okay, and we've got the 3 sizes, so let's just do it. And I think that will just help the shamrock sort of come through a little bit. I can do this sort of trendy kind of peeking in and out thing that people do. Another one up here. Not too centered. There we go. Just a little nod to that other colour, just to bring it out a little bit. Okay, and that's it. So this is our combo: Petunia Pop, Pretty in Pink, Shy Shamrock. This is the Creative Colour Challenge that Vicky Lou Designs brings to us each week. Okay, and I've used Fragrant Layers, I think it's called. Yes, it is. Fragrant Layers. Great set. Available as a bundle. Okay, and I've used both elements, and as I say, there's loads of ways we can use this one. So it's a really nice set to have. I've been looking forward to playing with that, so there's probably going to be more to come. Okay, links to everything's in the description. Just click on the underneath the title or wherever it is, it says more, and it'll expand a description that will take you to the challenge, and it will take you to the items as well. So if you click on the items, it will take you straight to the store. So yeah, and don't forget that that joining offer, so it'll all be on there as soon as you go into the store, and on the home page it'll have all the details about the joining offer that's currently available. Okay, that's it guys. Thanks ever so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed it. There's loads going on at the moment. I hope you liked the Stamping Around the World video hop. We did a layers theme, so check that out. Loads of demonstrators from across the world. We've got Australians and Americans, and I think we have an Irish lady as well that participates. So loads and loads of inspiration in that one to check out. Yeah, and don't forget the first of the month is also the Stamp Around UK hops, so lots and lots going on. Yeah, hopefully you'll be able to join me for more videos. Please do like, subscribe, share it with your friends, all that jazz. It all helps out. Thanks ever so much for joining me today. Stay safe, take care, see you soon, bye.